From the Midwest and the USA to Vancouver and the little LA, she'll be dishing its place no matter naughty or nice. You better believe she's a real housewife. It's a very commentary.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Very Merry Commentary podcast. This is my second episode. And of course, you might recognize Brooke from episode 1, where we talked all about RHOV. Hello, Brooke.
Hello, hello. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Well, one of the things I'm going to tell everybody about is that we're going to change the format of the podcast just a little bit, where before we were just having a one-on-one conversation, but the Very Merry Commentary podcast is going to turn into a little bit of a talk show, varietal show. So we are going to continue to talk about housewives. I'm going to have some special guests on that are actual housewife fanatics as well, that are going to talk to us about housewives. But Brooke every week is going to come back, and she is going to have her own segment called Cart Confessions with Brooke, who will come on the podcast every episode and talk to us about new finds, because her doorbell rings 10 times a day. Hello, it's Amazon. Okay,
Yep.
go ahead. Number one.
This
What's
is it.
happening?
This is the stupid thing that you went crazy for. You were like,
I know. So tell everybody what that is.
it's obviously from Amazon, because the entire house is probably from Amazon. But so when you have a bunch of junk in your sink, which you do, you just grab this and then you just swish it all down to the side on the drain, instead of using like your sponge, which you're washing your dishes with. So that's kind of, and this is just
so
like
cool.
Yeah, it won't.
Doesn't end up with all kinds of, we end up with so much shite in the sink. Like literally, I take my hand and do it, or I use the brush that's supposed to use like for scrubbing the dishes, and I push all that shite down into the drain. But that thing is the coolest.
And the best thing is it's not going to mold, just because it's like this hard piece of silicone. Like, so I've had this for like 2 years.
Okay, and you can hang it on your sink. Like you can hang it.
Yeah. I just have like a little silver basket that I keep it in there, and
mine hangs over the sink. It has a little lip that I just.
Oh, okay. That's cute. Maybe you need to start sharing your stuff.
Okay, tell everybody. We will have it linked every episode where you can get Brooke's Cart Confessions. We know that is from Amazon. I don't know what you call it, but I call it a mini squeegee. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. What else have you got? What else have
we got? What have we got? This one is, Todd always makes fun of me with this one. He's like, it's so stupid. And I'm like, okay, do you want to peel the garlic? So this is a garlic. You put the garlic in. I don't have the garlic right now, but all you do is you put the garlic in there. And then, I don't know if you can see it, you just go like this. And in literally 1 second, all the stuff on the outside of the garlic comes right off.
Come on. Seriously?
I'm not kidding.
Wait. Hold on. So do you put the whole clove in there, or you put the whole like flour?
You just kind of like take them apart and just put them in there, and all the shell just rolls off in like 3 rolls. You're just like,
I usually have to cut the end, and then you peel, and then your nails smell like garlic for days.
No, not with this thing. With Brooke's Cart Confessions, you will no longer smell like garlic.
I love it. Okay, so try it. Where you get that on Amazon too? What's it called?
Amazon. Yeah.
Is it called
gadgets? Todd calls it the gadget queen. He's like, why do you need a gadget for everything? I'm like, if I find a problem, I need a solution, and Amazon's always got the solution.
But that's called the garlic cone?
I don't know, but that's a great name for it. The garlic cone. The cone confession.
Cone confession. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
You can scroll through Instagram, and I'm sure people have like, the influencers that they follow, but you come up with the coolest stuff. And she rebuilt this house a couple of years ago that she's sitting, which is stunning.
Thank you.
And so because of this, it was all, for a while, your focal point was finding stuff for the house.
Yes. I'm proper. My focal point in life is always finding stuff.
As a matter of fact, if she's not at Amazon's, not at her door, she's usually at Sephora.
Yeah.
Sephora. I think you should have you should get free ship from Sephora all the time.
Oh my God. Okay, that would be great, because Todd would be happy if that was
literally are one of those people that keep Sephora in business.
It's so true. It's funny. One day I was shopping at the outlet mall and this delivery guy walks by me and goes, "Hey, Brooke." And Sean goes, "What the hell?" And
Are you kidding me?
I was like, I don't know who that is.
The delivery guys from Amazon know you.
Oh yeah, yeah. They were like just doing deliveries at the outlet mall, and he was like, "Hey, how are you?"
Only you. Only you.
Only
That's
me.
awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else?
I do have this curling iron. To be honest, I haven't used it yet, but I just got it. As
We
you
have
know,
been talking about curling irons because I'll just give you a little background. So I have super long hair. It used to, during RHAV, my hair was not this long, but I've let it just go natural because after my mom passed away, I lost so much of my hair from stress. And then I was like, I'm just not going to touch it anymore. And so thankfully, thank the good Lord, I do have some grays, but not a ton.
Oh my God.
I don't
I've
have
never
to color
seen
my
any.
hair. I do have a few scattered. I'm just not getting the line or the demarcation of gray, but I do have some, but I just have not wanted to, I just have not wanted to color it because I have thick, coarse hair and it's curly. And if I put any blonde in it, it usually goes like this. Anyhow, I have been looking for a curling iron because otherwise I get ringlets with the smaller barreled ones. I don't know what you've got for us, but I'm looking for a curling iron. I am in the market. So
okay, so well, I'm gonna do some research for you on that for your hair because I know we can find you a good one. I mean, there's not that many good ones out there. I feel you and I were looking at one the other day, and I was like, I don't know, not sure about that. But for me, I travel a lot, and so I was looking for something that can work for flattening my hair, curling it, all compact in one. Of course, I have the Dyson, but it's so big and bulky and like all those.
Can we talk about Dyson for a minute?
Can we talk about Dyson?
Like, the blow dryer was the blow dryer to get. And I got to tell you something, like I tried it and my hair tangled everywhere from it. The power, I love power, but my hair got in snarls and then it took me forever to get them out. And I didn't think that it really blew my hair so straight and smooth.
No.
So, I'm not going to get it. I went and got the Shark. I went and got the Shark, which does apparently the same. It's a dupe for the Dyson, half the price. And I loved it. Like I really love it. So I used the dryer. Then I got the Dyson. Then I got, I don't know. I just had an impulsive moment and I bought that $400 or $500 Dyson air straightener. The straightener.
I did the same.
Dude, I hated it. It's awful. I have it. If anybody wants it, let me know.
Why is it so big?
It's massive. It's heavy.
It's heavy.
So, no, I'm just.
And you can't curl with it. You can only straighten with it.
You can only straighten. No, I mean, honestly, no offense to Dyson, but I haven't found the product that I'm like really like loving. I don't know.
They need to potentially work on getting things smaller.
Yeah, and not so freaking heavy. And the cords
heavy.
are super heavy.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like it was invented in like the 70s or something. Sorry, Dyson.
Sorry, Dyson. We're not dissing on you or anything. Anyway, so we're, Dyson, send us everything you want. We're willing to try it and give our really true review on it. But right now, no, it's not happening.
No, it's a no.
So you found something. Sorry.
Yes.
It's a long time to get there.
No, it's fine. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to be any good, but I just got it. So this is, I think it's Laneige. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I can't read it. It's black on the side there. But so this is a flat iron and a curling iron in one. And it's got like the airflow technology. I'm not really sure what it's going to do, but maybe it's just like less heat on it. I'm not sure. And it's super light. Like this thing weighs nothing and you can curl your hair and flat iron it. And I don't know. I don't travel with a hair.
Wait, did you use your hair? Did you try that on your hair today?
No, this I haven't tried yet. No, this was
you haven't tried it.
This is my Vegas hair.
You're a Las Vegas girl.
Yeah.
Wait, so that thing is supposed to curl and?
Yes, because it's round. I don't know if you can see. It's round. So you can and then it's got the airflow on the outside.
Okay. I've seen people actually, use a flat iron to curl.
Yeah, and you
can't do
can
that.
do that for sure, but apparently just the shape of this is just supposed to make it a little bit easier because it mimics the barrel set like shape.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And is
We'll
that
see.
ceramic? Is that what they
Oh,
ceramic?
you know
still-
what? Really good question. I didn't even look.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
isn't
like,
it
oh,
like
did you
everybody
look?
goes use ceramic? It's better for your hair.
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. I don't know.
But how did
I
you
will look
hair
into
look so curly right now?
this one. This is the hair salon. This is my hairdresser, Joy.
Oh, you just had your hair done yesterday.
Yeah, you know, you got to get all the nails, the hair, you got to get all the things done before Vegas.
Yeah. No, I hear you. But
Yeah.
and those blowouts you get from the salon lasts for like days.
That's that's what I always do when I go away. I'm like, just make it look good for a couple days.
Yeah. So, okay. So we're just showing you guys a couple of things today, but every episode, Brooke is going to come back with, tons of gadgets and cool things and even clothing. It's because just in case everyone forgot, or maybe no one knew this, Brooke actually we met at the beginning of Housewives, and Brooke was styling me. Anyway,
Okay, now
have a great time in Vegas. And I love you and thank you again. And next up, we'll be talking to Peter Breeze about Housewives.
I can't wait.
Oh yeah, this is
be
gonna
awesome.
be fun. This is gonna be fun. We're gonna have a lot of different segments on the podcast, and it's gonna be a really fun ride.
Mary
Hey,
commentary.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a very merry commentary, to episode 2. And as promised, we are going to continue our conversation on the Real Housewives of Vancouver 10-year revisit. And guess what? Brooke is off to Vegas, and I have a Real Housewife aficionado, great friend of mine, Peter Breeze, who is here, recording artist extraordinaire as well. I don't even know if I can say the songs that most people probably know of, but one of them is called Fuck Talk. And it has done very well for you. And you are a producer of your own podcast. And we have been friends for quite a while. And I've been on your podcast. So I thought nobody better to continue this conversation about RHOV, Real Housewives of Vancouver 10-year revisit.
Oh my gosh.
A lot has gone on, Peter, since I recorded.
Oh, Lordy. I know. When I started my podcast, you are always top of mind because, and I've told you this, and anybody who knows me knows this, is that I am so obsessed with Housewives, but when Vancouver was on, to be a young reality TV fan, to be a young gay man in Vancouver, and to have the show on in the same city that I was living was like mind-blowing. And I remember going to like the grocery store, and y'all were on like little, like the thing that they put on the conveyor belt. It was like Housewives of Vancouver.
I have one of those. Oh, I wish I could try and get it. I have it.
Oh my God.
It is the one that separates your groceries from someone else's, right?
Yes. I was like, damn, this is so cool.
It's interesting. And just kind of back as a recap, Housewives has been over 10 years since we last aired. And there started to be a little bit of, I don't know, shop talk around the show. And in the last couple of months in particular. Now, I recorded my first episode on Housewives on this podcast with my friend Brooke, without knowing of this buzz. I had no idea. The only reason that I thought I would start my new podcast, which of course I had my old podcast, which I took a hiatus from and then renamed it. But the was because it's been 10 years, and I thought great way of just kind of like segueing into the new podcast. And so many fans still talk about the show. I get recognized a lot. In fact, funny enough, my boyfriend, who's an actor, who's been on a lot of major shows, he and I will go out to Montreal, Toronto, his hometown of Montreal, and people will come running up to us, and he thinks they're coming to say, "Oh my God, I loved you on Weeds," or "I loved you on," and instead it's like, "Oh my God, I loved you on Housewives." And he's like, "What's going on? What is this about Housewives?" Right?
Love it. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's kind of like, it's got
what?
To people.
I don't know if I told you this when you were on my show, but I equate housewife fans with Star Trek fans because Star Trek fans are kind of like culty, and when they see somebody, they get really freaked out and they have like Star Trek cruises. Housewife and
Oh
Bravo
my
fans
God.
are the same way. Like
Yeah.
people who are obsessed with Real Housewives of Vancouver will never forget, and wherever you go, they will see you with like laser eyes. And it's a big thing. We're diehards, so that doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's quite funny, but but since I did the first podcast with Brooke and just I'd asked fans on my Facebook page, my followers, if you have any questions about housewives, I'd be happy to answer them because I get them every day. Somebody asks me
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
some social media venue, people ask me. So I thought I'm going to talk about it. Then all of a sudden, you gave me a phone call. Let's talk about that phone call because you called me. You
Oh
were
my
like,
God.
"What is going
Oh my
on?
God.
Is
Okay.
Housewives coming back?" And I go, "What are you talking about?" No.
Uh-huh. 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 Well, okay, I guess to set the tone for the fans who are listening is basically what had happened is I interviewed you. That was like 1 or 2 years ago. And I remember at that time it was like maybe there's something, but not really. It's there's always like a successful show. I think there's always things in the works because when something works, it's like, how can we revamp it? But recently, and I have to think about, I'm gonna spill the tea, but I can't give away all the names because we want to keep
Okay. Yeah,
some
we
things
have
there.
to we have to keep things under wraps.
Yeah, yeah,
That you
because it is what it is. So I have
you're
another
gonna
fr
sip a little tea.
Oh, I'm gonna give it to you. So I have a friend who is on another show that Lark produces, Farming for Love. I'm just gonna say it's Farming for Love, okay? And when they were filming, I was talking to him, big fan of reality TV, obviously. And when his show was on the air, I would ask him about like, oh my God, tell me about that scene, tell me about that scene. And he was also a Housewife fan, is friends with some of the cast members. And he's like, it was crazy because when we were shooting, I heard production talking about Real Housewives of Vancouver, and he would like production would ask him questions, and he said it was crazy because out of nowhere there would be this information. I messaged I messaged Kara from Real Housewives of Toronto
Mhm.
because I immediately was like, what's going on? And you were like, that's crazy. Because I think somebody around the same time had reached out to you and or Ronnie to be like, hey, I'm hearing these rumors. So it seemed like suddenly there was this talk of Real Housewives revamping. And at the time when you and I were connecting, we didn't know if it was Vancouver or Toronto. And Kara was like, oh yeah, she might get mad at me, but whatever. Love you, Kara. She told me, oh, it's 100% Toronto. Like they're doing Toronto. The girls are all signed. And I'm like, damn, I wanted to be Vancouver. You
Yeah.
and I were talking and
I was like, "No, I haven't
you're
heard
like, I have no idea.
no,
If
if
it's
it
happening,
is, they're
maybe it's a
not
new
talking to me
cast.
about
Yeah.
it." Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was immediately disappointed because I'm like, damn, I think if you ask any fan, they would say Vancouver was way better. I think Toronto maybe has more money, is what they say, but it was a snooze fest. Like I'm a stan. I met Roxy. I know Kara. But I feel like from a rating standpoint, Vancouver would be better. So when you and I were talking, I was like, please, baby Jesus, let them move
Bring it back.
towards.
Well, then simultaneously with you calling me about that, I had had a lot of people approach me about the fact that the production company, our production company, has been posting on TikTok
Yeah,
lots of clips of the show. And
yeah.
Lord help me, like ugh, I mean to tell you, I mean, and by the way, they're extreme close-ups, these clips they're posting, but they're posting these clips, and I think there's been a shakeup and changes up in Rogers and Slice,
Hmm.
all of the networks to be Bravo Canada, all those kind of things. So I know that they would love to probably have the opportunity to bring the show back after all these years. I'm thinking that they are very interested to see if there's still an audience out there who would like to
Yeah,
see the show come back. So
yeah.
there is no confirmation on it. There is no, nothing to be said that it's coming back or not. But I do know that they are, wanting to like dip their toe in the water to see if there is anyone wanting to see.
Like, this is the thing. At first, it's rumors. It's just like hearsay. And then when they
Yeah.
started posting on TikTok, and by the way, for people who aren't following Lark on TikTok, it was more than one post. It was like a tons consecutively. And I know
Yeah.
that they were tagging you, and it gets people talking. Then people are recognizing you and Aritzia. I know you told me that, and
Oh, I
people are
know.
saying,
It's
"Oh
so
my God,
funny.
the show's coming back."
So
So
many people have
I,
come up to me lately, and I mean, people come up to just say, "Oh, I love the show," or "Is it for real?" and "Is Jody that mean?" and "I liked you on the show."
oh God,
But this time they're
yeah.
like, "Oh my God, the show's coming back! It's coming back!" I'm like, not necessarily. Like, I
It's a
don't.
long process. Like that's what I think
It's a
fans
very
don't
long
understand is like there's one thing to have general interest, but then,
process.
production, it's a whole thing. But I also have been on Reddit, which Reddit is good for like
Oh,
deep diving on certain topics. And people talk about Vancouver and they want it to come back. It comes up a lot. They don't know why it was canceled. Um, so I suspect the more Lark puts this out there, and I'm so happy you're doing this podcast now because based on what I know, my own research and talking to people,
yeah,
Vancouver is the one.
the
100% is the
one.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about that. Let's talk
Yeah.
about because one of the things that I was asked a ton of questions from followers on Facebook. Brooke and I only got to a couple. I know that you have pretty good list of some of the ones I
Yeah,
didn't
I
answer,
do.
but I think it would be really fun for us to go into a couple of those and then, I'd love your opinion on some of that too, because now, interestingly enough, I hadn't seen any of those clips like that for years. Okay. So then I did the first episode, found a few clips off of TikTok or whatever, added them to the editing. But now that Lark has been posting a lot of these clips, I'm like, oh Lord, it's all coming back. Like it's all coming back. Because time has a way of healing wounds and you forget things.
Uh-huh,
But now
uh-huh.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so mad at Jody again.
I mean, yeah, I
I
think that's a
mean,
forever. Yeah, I think fans are mad at her on your behalf as well.
oh,
I think like the one thing that I am curious about as a fan, and I think probably people listening would be too, is when we see you all on TV, it is so entertaining and you really do forget that these are real people having these experiences. And people want to know if it's fake, but when I start hearing these rumors, I'm thinking about it as a fan, right? I'm like, I want it to be on TV. But for you, what goes through your mind when you think, oh God, like what if Lark calls you and they're like, next week cameras are showing up at your house? What goes through your mind?
oh, wow. The first thing that goes through my mind is, could I handle it again? Because I did have some PTSD after that. But mind you, I was in a whole different headspace then than I am now. I mean, it cut to 10 years later. I'm different. I'm a different person. I've been through a lot of things. Life, my children are older now. And as you know, Cole just got married. So, I mean, my
Yeah,
kids were young then and they were very impressionable and vulnerable. And I didn't want to do anything that was going to jeopardize them. So,
yeah,
that was something that I always had in the back of my mind. Secondly, who are the cast members?
yeah.
If they're considering bringing this back, is it Mary and Jody round three? Is it what I mean? And let me tell you something, Mary and Jody round three would be way different than one and two.
Yeah.
Um,
How
and
so? How so? How so?
because you know why? Because I look back at some of those clips and I thought, this has been really an awakening for me because I look at it and thinking, how dare she had the audacity to say some of the things that she did to me, and how I sat there at times and just kind of allowed her to go off into her tirades, and I just feel like I this time would not allow that. That would just not
Yeah,
happen anymore. That would not
yeah.
happen. Not that I'm gonna, do anything against my character or do something that, throw a bottle of wine at her or an apple. Maybe she should get an apple. Apple, pear, orange, anything that's
Yeah.
gonna no. But I just think now it's just like I think I let her go a lot before because it was telltaling of who she really was, right? It's just if you
Hmm.
let people go long enough and not interrupt them. I mean, people are smart, viewers are smart. They see who people truly are. You let their true colors show.
What I wonder too is like when you fight with friends, it's one thing and time heals all and everybody needs time to like, I mean, even when you're not on TV, like a huge fight happens with family or your best friend, takes time. It's not abnormal for people to not talk for months or years, but is it like heightened because it was on TV? Like you and Ronnie were friends for so long. So in my mind, I'm like, can't you just be like, okay, that was crazy. We were on TV. Let's just forgive and forget. Heightened emotions, crazy experience.
Yeah,
Everybody was feeling the pressure. Like,
I think it's a really good question. And Ronnie and I are a whole different like scenario because we were friends for so long and, went through a lot of things in life prior to the show. And, when Remy was born, I was there with her. I used to sit in the nursery with Remy when she wasn't there,
oh,
in the ICU. And, we had a friendship. She was there when Chad was born, helped me name him.
aw,
Yeah. So, I mean, we had gone through a lot together. So then when we got on the show, a lot of things were very confusing to me as to why, the tides turned and she kind of favored Jody over me and, kind of went against me. And I still, there's certain things you started to kind of go, okay, we're fine. Okay, we're fine. But then it perpetuated and then it continued. And after a while, I was just like, I love her, but I can't do this. I have to
yeah,
protect myself too. And then at the same time, she was going through things, which I'm sure she would like to have a chance to change people's minds about the things that she was going through at the time as well. And she had, yeah. So, um,
I mean, Ronnie's tagline was, I don't know if it was her tagline, like her intro, but one of the clips that's so famous about her is I went to rehab, but the only problem was there was no happy hour or
right,
something like that. And
right.
if you look at
Yeah.
that through the lens of 2024, nobody, that would be such a like like don't make light of it kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, it was a
I
different time. It was a
yeah.
different time. I mean, there's a lot of canceling that would have been going on at this
Oh yeah, Jody.
point.
Like, and like, I mean, let's finish talking about Ronnie first. So like, you bring up a lot of good points about like Ronnie. I don't know her as well as I know you. We've
Right.
spoken a bit. She was gonna come on the podcast. She wasn't. She was traveling. Like she was very chaotic.
Mhm.
But I did meet her a few times at events. She was like amazing, so funny, so
Yeah.
nice. But your relationship has been tumultuous, but you're okay now. Like you've gotten to a point. I know that you've reconciled in some way. So what happened?
It's a very I think for Ronnie and I, like we always have had this sisterly love, because we knew each other so young and for so long,
Yeah.
and gone through a lot together that, she, as most people know, she has gone through the utmost tragedy,
Hmm.
losing Houston, her
Yeah.
son. And that to me is something that no person on earth should ever go through, whether it's somebody, if that's your worst enemy, I would never ever wish that upon them. Right. And so when Houston passed away, she called me the next day and I had not spoken to her for years. But I had heard this happen. She called me, I took the phone call and, as any person would, and I took the phone call and I was like, everything that had happened before that, it's not that it was gone, but I felt that as a human being and as a mother and as somebody who has had been friends with her for so many years, I went back to those feelings again where I just couldn't hold a grudge any further or any
Yeah.
longer. And I think God is a way of sometimes intervening in times where maybe those things start the road to recovery and healing, right?
Yeah.
So that was the first time I had spoken to her. And that opened the door for us.
Okay. You already mentioned that you didn't talk to anyone right after filming. So before we dive into Jody, because that was a big, big topic in the questions. Have you
Yeah,
spoken to Reiko?
not at all. No,
Wow.
nothing.
Not a damn thing. Wow.
Nothing. And you know what's so funny? I never felt like Reiko liked me. Like it's really
Mm,
strange. She never really reached out to me. I felt she was kind of, even though she sometimes looked very neutral, I felt like she was very much kind of more, she was persuaded onto the Jody Ronnie side during
Yeah.
filming. And so I guess I just was kind of, I never really developed a relationship with Reiko, like a
Hmm.
friendship. So I never really saw her at all.
Okay.
Really, just Christina.
Christina, amazing. Where in the world is Christina San Diego? That's what we want to
Christina,
know.
yeah. Where's Christina? Like, where's Waldo? You know,
Yeah,
she's
I'm
actually
glad.
back in Vancouver. At the moment,
Oh,
yeah, she's back.
okay.
She's back. Um,
Vancouver fans, keep your eyes peeled if you're on the
yeah.
streets.
And she's hilarious. I just actually was cooking the other night and talked to her for an hour, and we had just
Oh,
this
Lordy.
hoot of a scream talking about stuff. Yeah, we
She's
were.
so funny.
Oh, Christina. We were. Oh yeah, we
Um,
were doing the whole thing. The whole Jody invitations were happening.
people, I think people have a hard time believing that Jody was as outrageous and mean as she is. And
Yeah.
a lot of the questions, I mean, people want it. You already talked about this. Is it fake? Do you talk to Jody? Did you ever reconcile? Was she really that mean? Things between her and Mia seem so over the top. I can say that Mia actually lived in the same building as my really good friend when the show was on, and we saw her all the time. We partied with her. She is like that. She is over the friggin' top. At the
Yeah.
time, we were all in the party scene, so I'm not gonna say she was a party girl like it was a bad thing, because I was doing the same thing she was, and we had a lot of fun. But she was exactly the way you saw her on TV. I only met Jody a few times, but what was your like, talk to me about Jody. Like, there's so much to unpack there, but your fans really want to know.
Met Jody.
Yeah.
Well, from the very minute I ever met Jody, you know, she never was just a warm and fuzzy person to me. She was like, and I always thought, like, what is up with her? Like, why is she being so rude to me? And right from the get-go, episode 1, we're all in Whistler, and she starts belittling me, speaking condescendingly toward me. Like, it was like, I'm going like, what the
Mary,
heck does she, yeah,
Mary.
like, what the hell is her problem? And then it just progressed. It just got worse
Mhm.
and worse. And then she started making fun of the way I look, making fun of my cheeks, telling me I was old.
Uh,
Why are you wearing a midriff? Like when I had the thing about, look at her, she's like 50. I wasn't 50, but anyway, everything was a problem.
yeah.
Everything was a problem. And it was very much, in retrospect, I think it was projection,
Yeah.
I just can't understand why she had so many problems with me. And I'd be like, Jody, I'm being so nice to you. I feel like the authenticity of who I was, she did not like for some reason. I
Uh,
don't, I mean,
Too
I don't know.
calm, too cool, too collected,
Yeah.
too stable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I know it's not scripted, because I know people are on shows like that. But do you get a sense that there was any egging on from production, like, poking the beast a little bit, like getting her more riled up? What did you ever feel like you were put in scenarios that were not scripted, but sort of designed to make her even more mad or even more frazzled and directed at you?
Well, let's say this. At putting my producer hat on, these shows, they're meant to spark a little drama, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the whole format of these shows kind of do that. In defense of production, they've never ever told me what to say, how to say it, when to say it. Like, I never felt that I was egged on to do anything that wasn't authentic. Um, do you go for dinners with somebody and they start, the women start stirring the pot? I almost think they knew more than I did that that's
Oh,
the way it's supposed to
interesting.
go. I really didn't have a clue. I thought, oh, they're going to be hard pressed to get us to fight.
I want to ask now, because we're talking about sort of the darkness of the show, and this is something I'm obsessed with. I know you can't talk too much about the logistics of filming. Like, I'm always like, how many cameras are in the restaurant? How many cameras are at Mary's house when she's like, when people, because I think you had like a pride party. Somebody wanted to know your favorite and least part about filming, and then after that, somebody wanted to talk about like the actual logistics of filming, what your schedule was like, things like that.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting. So it's a really expensive show to shoot because you have all these women, like 5, 6 women, and you have 4 camera crews pretty much. And they basically ask you, like, what are you doing for the day? Like tomorrow, the next day, the next day. We filmed for about 4 months straight. And usually in the really nice weather because nobody wants to see Vancouver when it's all
Yeah.
raining, you know? But they would be like for me, for instance, like I was working on a song. So they'd be like, when are you going to the studio? And who are you working with? And so then they would follow that, you know, what I was doing that day and follow me to the studio. Then they would say like, what's your schedule like for, I mean, they really would just kind of ask you your schedule. And then they would
Interesting.
cherry pick what they thought was kind of interesting for people to watch or to see. And then they would try to see if they could bring a couple of the women together to do certain things together. Like I didn't go to the painting with the nude painting or whatever, the guy who's like the nude
Yeah.
sock on his wiener. I didn't go to that, but they'll arrange stuff like that.
Give me an example of like the average filming day. How long would you shoot for?
Usually, a couple times they woke me up in the morning. Like literally, we're going to be at your house at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Yeah. And then they're like, one time I remember they're like, I think it was the day that maybe Cole was getting ready to go to New York. And they were like, we'd like to see you actually getting up. So if you could just stay in bed.
What?
So here I leave my door unlocked and here comes this camera crew. I'm like,
Oh, that's a little, that could,
I mean, but
getting
they
some
want to show the
ideas.
real, you know, real day in the life kind of thing.
Yeah.
They do. It's, you know, it can be pretty intrusive, but you get used to it. I think after a while, and you forget that the cameras are there, which helps the show. You forget
How
they're there.
do people in public react when you're at a restaurant or you're in a park and you're filming a scene? Like, I'm always like, if I saw housewives filming, they would have to cancel the shoot because I would be like, I would be
You're
up in
so
it.
funny. Well, you know what? First season, we weren't allowed to say. People, we'd have the camera crews, everything were around, and they didn't want anyone to know it was a housewife show. So we had to go, oh, we're filming a documentary, but nobody knew who we were then. So it was a lot easier. Second season, harder because we already had been on one. So then they were like, oh, they're filming housewives, right? But the first season, they had to keep it under wraps. So we were like, oh, we're doing a documentary on this restaurant or on restaurants in Vancouver or whatever. Yeah, so that was funny.
Uh,
But second season, everybody knew who we were at that point.
I
So
remember you, and I think it was you, somebody from season 2 was filming at Cactus Club English Bay. And I remember on Facebook, everybody was like, the housewives are at Cactus Club. I was at work, otherwise I would have been there like ordering bellinis in the
I was
background.
there.
Like,
I remember we filmed there. It was
yeah,
Ronnie, season 2, right? Yeah, it was
yep,
Ronnie, myself, and Robin.
Robin.
Yeah,
Yes.
Robin, y'all from Texas, you know.
She's so nice.
You know
Anybody
what?
who gets to meet Robin, she's so friendly. She's so
It's hysterical, actually. You know
charismatic.
what else is kind of interesting? There's something about this franchise that I really like, maybe because I'm older now, but I love the fact that Housewives is not all youth oriented. Like
For
it's one of
sure.
the only programs on TV that celebrate women of all ages,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
it doesn't go, oh, you know, and listen, I think it's great. I wish they weren't always fighting and then there was a little bit more
Yeah.
camaraderie between people and showing the love of friendships or the love of girlfriends and, you know, those kind of things. But you know, I mean, my everyday life is full of drama. It's not full of,
Totally.
you know, hatred, but
People
there's
aren't throwing things
drama.
at you, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's drama.
And all of us have
Um,
drama in our lives every day.
yeah, totally.
Uh,
Okay, I have a couple more questions before I know
we're
we're
getting
getting close
tight
to an
now.
hour mark. Yeah.
But you know what?
Okay.
We are going to continue this conversation.
Yeah.
Every episode we'll touch on it. So go ahead.
Okay. So Jason asks, I've always loved your music, especially Hero. Any plans to record new music? I'm also curious about this. As somebody who's done music, actually, I want to ask you this. It's been a long time since I've done it, and I've done some shows recently, and I'm sort of on the fence about like recording again. And I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think about, because it's like a moment in time, right? Your pop star phase, your pop
Yeah.
star moment, and then it's been years. Do you think about it? Is it something you would go back to? And then how do you think, like even me getting in my late 30s, I'm like, I'm too old. I'm too old to
Yeah.
go be a
Yeah.
pop star again. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing about it, and I will just tell you, since Lark, by the way, has been posting these things about, and they had, I was a Canadian pop star. I mean, I wish
Yeah.
I'd never
I
said that.
know.
How about Canadian singer would have been better, but
Yeah.
pop star sounds so self-narcissistic.
Oh, we love it.
Whatever.
Honey, you're a pop
Anyway,
star. Yeah.
then there are all these people going, I never heard of her. I've lived here for 40 years, 30 years. I've never heard of her. I never, I don't know who the hell.
Story of my life.
I
Story
mean,
of
I'm
my
like,
life.
okay, well, you know what? Good for you. That's okay that you never heard of me. I did have some hits out. I mean, I did
Yeah.
manage to, but not everybody listens to top 40. And that was top 40
And Canada too.
in Canada.
Yeah.
Hero, by the way, was like a complete fluke. That it went #1 in the UK for a couple of weeks, which was insane.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was insane. But that was
I didn't
because
know
the show
that.
aired in the UK. And
Ah.
so it was one of the places it aired. So it was during airing that all of a sudden one morning somebody called me and go, my God, your song is #1 in the UK. I was like, come on, you're joking. And it was, and it would beat out like some of these big pop stars and stuff. But
Oh my God, it's amazing.
but that was because the show was doing so well. But you know what? Like singing and doing music has been part of my life for the longest time. I guess I don't know how to turn that thing off on my computer. But
That's okay.
anyway, but it's like with you, I'm sure music is passion for me. It's my outlet. And I miss it so much that I don't put anything out and record anymore, and that I'm not, singing live or whatever. I do miss it a lot because it is one of those things like jogging, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
it's a
stress
muscle.
release for me.
Yeah.
And it's just something that I'm an artist at heart. That's who I've always been. And so I've thought often about doing music. Now, my son, who did Hero with me, was so young at the time, but now he lives in Nashville recording his own record.
Oh, cool. Oh my God.
And
I didn't know he was in Nashville. That's
yeah, he's
amazing.
living in Nashville,
Good for
and
him.
he's amazing. And so I've often thought of maybe redoing Hero with as an acoustic version with him singing with me, because he's a great singer too, and playing, and maybe redoing Hero 10 years later kind of thing. But as far as putting out like my own songs, I'm really shy to do it again, because I think people are going to go like, what's she doing? But again, people are going to think. I keep telling my kids, don't care what people think. And here I'm saying the same thing. Like, people are going to go, oh my God, she's putting out more music. She's too old to put out music. What is wrong with her?
Look at Madonna. Look at fucking Cher. Cher's 110
Yeah.
years old.
And she's doing it. And I
She's
mean,
doing it.
but one thing I have always wanted to do is expand my Christmas album, which I did with Rosemary Stevens. And
You are such a good Christmas. That is, yes. You can be the Canadian Mariah, Queen of
right,
Christmas in
okay.
Canada.
I'm gonna go see her. We're getting tickets to go see her in the desert.
Is she coming to Vancouver?
No,
Oh, the
she's coming to
desert.
Palm
Ugh.
Springs. Her Christmas tour.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's
So
amazing.
I would love to do that, like just because I have a partial Christmas album done, and from before, and I thought that might be something that will live in perpetuity for my grandkids and
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh, for sure. And
So
you know what? Like from a live show standpoint, every year, do the Mary Zilba
can do
Christmas
it.
special, honey. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can make that happen. I'm
Yeah.
just remembering your song Little Miss Reckless. That's a bop. Everybody needs to go listen to that song.
Ooh. That's such a great song. But you know what? That song I thought was going to do really well on radio, but things are so different now. When I was putting out music, it had to go to radio. You had to get, you'd wait to see if what station would Chum FM in Toronto, if they were to add it, you were so good, because then everybody else on the secondaries would add it, and we'd wait. We'd put songs, we had a PR person like throw them up at radio. And then now you don't have to do that. Now you can just put your stuff out there, but maybe the competition's it was tough then, because then everyone was throwing it at a radio station to play it. But now you can put your stuff out there and hope that it get some traction, but I would love to. What about you? Are you thinking of?
Well, I'm supposed to go to Victoria and record 2 songs this month, and I'm going to like I'm going to like this is the thing. My popularity was very tied to the club scene. I
Yeah,
wasn't on the radio. I wasn't on much music. I was, and this was before Instagram was like the influencer culture. So
right.
mine was so specific to nightlife, and even though I had my moment, like nobody's gonna know me in friggin' like PEI. But the people who know me remember that point in time. So when I think about doing it again, I'm like, I am not going to perform a song at midnight on Davie Street. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just so not there anymore. I
Yeah.
would record a song, but I also used to just sing about like partying and drugs
Yeah.
and sex. And I'm like, not my life anymore. So
Yes,
yeah,
you're a married man.
I'm a married man. Yes, I need to be polite. I'm gonna only sing about love and God.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah,
that's okay. You know what?
yeah,
Like, why not? I mean, that is what the world needs. Love,
exactly.
sweet
Just put it out there.
love. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Last question before we wrap
Okay,
up. And
last
yes,
question.
the fans, this is gonna, believe me, Mary has lots of ideas. This podcast is just the beginning. Talk show conversations are happening. We're gonna give this leg. So thanks for being patient. And there's gonna be so much more. But the list of questions is insane. Like I'm just scrolling and scrolling
I
and
know there's
scrolling.
so many. There's so many.
So and
But
people listening to this, keep asking Mary. Keep asking if you hear rumors, ask Mary. Like
yeah,
just
and
keep
then
sending them
we'll
to
talk
her.
about them each week. I mean, the thing
Yeah.
is that and I think Peter, what we should do also is Peter's giving me homework, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm supposed to watch the housewife shows because we then
Mhm.
start
And
giving
talk about it.
opinions and
You
talk
know
about
what? I'll
those.
tell
So tell me
you,
which one you want me to start with.
I'm not gonna get you to look at whole seasons because that will take way too long. There's too many. I'm
I
gonna
am
think of
familiar
like
with Orange County. I am familiar with Orange
okay.
County. Just
Let me think
from
of iconic episodes. I'll send them to you and I'll be like,
okay,
this is the context of the season. This is what you need to know. Then you watch it and then we'll talk about it.
okay, that
That's a
sounds
good idea.
good. And in the
Okay.
meantime, I do want to say that to everybody who's been listening, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. And we have a lot in store. I'm transitioning this podcast slowly into a more of a varietal magazine show. And we're going to do that like step by step. But for now, we're going to just do little segments of different things. But I do want to let everyone know that we do have a little surprise in the background that we're working on, hoping it will come to fruition. And it will be very fun and exciting and will be an extension of Housewives to a degree. Would you not say?
Lots to follow, lots to film, Lark. Hint, hint.
Lark,
Okay.
subliminal. Hello,
Yeah.
subliminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Trevor wants to know, I like this question. In hindsight, if you could travel back in time and you could visit yourself right before you signed the contract, what would you tell that Mary?
Oh, shit. Trevor, what a question. What would I tell that Mary? Oh, wow. Like buckle up, man. Buckle up because what you just signed, you are in for one hell of a ride that you're gonna need to have some really massive balls. Grow some
Start
balls.
drinking now. Start drinking now.
Start drinking now. Exactly. Hey, but you know what? Life is interesting and it's always a journey,
Yeah.
right? And I'm excited for what is to be and what's to come. And we're heading into a new year soon. And my dad always said, odd years are better than even. So let's
I'm excited. Mary, thanks for
hope for
inviting me
that.
on. I am here. I am like cheering you on and I am praying every night that the Housewives comes back. So yes, let's
Thank
keep the
you.
ball rolling.
And anybody who is there anyone, if you want to reach out to Peter, you can do that too. And we
I'm just
will,
filming.
that's okay. And we will see Peter on future episodes. And again, everyone, thank you so much for listening and for all your questions and keep them
Yes.
coming. And we'll see you soon.
Real Housewives forever. Bye, everyone.
Bye.